The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy and Jackie.
Hey, and Anthony should be joining us soon. He had to take his good morning. Hey, just saying, he should be joining us soon. He had to take his son to basketball, and he's going to scoot over here so he can join us. So
because he usually does all the emails, and I'm not getting them right now.
Oh, that's okay. We'll deal with those soon.
So I'm sorry, guys. It's
So here's the thing. What is the email address that you can get a hold of us at? It's onair@yourteam.pro. That's onair@yourteam.pro. You can write in, and we'll be answering your questions and that. And then we'll periodically go through those. While we're just having an open discussion, for those of you who are new and joining us, which is pretty nice, we're getting 100 or 200 people new every week almost. And so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Randy Rodney. This is my wife Jackie. And you're not supposed to discuss age, but she looks very young for her.
Anyways.
90s. Being in her 90s.
Mr. Rodney here, I'm going to butt in and stop him right there. He is taking some viewers, listeners' advice, and he's breaking out on his own. And he's doing a show, and it's called Randy Rodney Raw.
Ooh. And hey, hold on. Is that like the Eddie Murphy Raw?
Or like the Raw, the wrestling? Isn't that called
wrestling
Raw
too? Yeah,
could be. You're big enough to be a wrestler, but at this age, like in your 70s, I would be very careful.
In my 70s, huh?
Be very, very careful doing that. Yeah.
In my 70s.
Late 60s then. Okay, I'll give you that.
I'm not in my 60s or my 70s.
Anyways, Gary, Gary's our producer. I'm so sorry, Gary. I know you said it was Tuesday nights. Is it 9 or 9:30?
It's 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
So 9:30 to 10:30
Eastern. PM Eastern Standard Time.
PM Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays.
Yeah, so we're doing that. So
that means Tuesday night you're busy too. So whoa, now I get Tuesday and Thursday evening you're out of the house. Oh, yeah.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
So we were just doing some historical looking up, and can I give your year of birth?
I am 53 years old, just for everybody out there to know before my husband starts saying that.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
So she just admitted her age,
I
so
was
I can
born in
actually tell you.
1969.
Yeah, I can tell you her birthday year, and we want to guess what the average price of the home was back then. She was born in 1869.
Wow, I do look good for my age.
Yeah. She'll try to convince you it was 1969, but we all know better. And what was the average price, do you think, of a home back then? And
I found the email.
So if you guys do decide to chime in on that, I'd be curious.
Yeah,
to,
email
to
us and
hear
see what
you
your
have to
thoughts
say.
are. Yeah.
And yeah, and you know what? Actually,
I got
think
the
it's
emails. You want me to quickly do the emails?
You know what? There was one email that a gentleman. Yeah, go ahead. Go through the ones this week.
Okay, so Brett asked if we have any contests coming up, and you did answer that. That we run a contest, everyone, the last Saturday of each month, where you can win a $25 Amazon card, I guess, which just gets put into your Amazon or emailed to you.
Yeah.
Emailed to you.
And
I don't do that
you
side of
have to
anything.
be in Canada or the United States to actually enter.
Okay. Sorry, I know we have listeners from
Other
all over the
countries, and
world,
we're
so sorry
yeah.
about that, guys, that you can't.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. So
Yeah, and then we got Grace sent, "Hey Randy and friends, I'm looking forward to your show tomorrow morning, and I always enjoy it. Thank you, Grace, very much. And like
you.
I said, you enjoy this. I know you all love Mr. Rodney here, so he's going to be doing his own show Tuesday nights, guys, at 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's called Randy Rodney Raw. And so I guess that's kind of exciting, okay?
Yeah. I like the idea that I don't have to share the time with you. I can just be on my own.
Yeah, me too.
So,
you can grow up a little bit. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's usually what mama birds do. They kind of, like we were talking last night, they push the bird out of the nest and see if it can fly. If it can't, then it's stuck on the ground without mama. So you're going to fly, baby.
Okay, well, I don't quite see it that way. It's that, I see it more that we can deal with more logical things that people actually care about.
I don't know what's going on with my headphones here.
But we definitely.
I think I'm tangled.
We definitely the same way
Tangled
for any of you who
Sorry,
are on
Mike.
YouTube,
I don't know what I did.
You can see that she gets all
Yeah, we'll leave it like that.
all caught up in her headphones. So it's like a Mr. Bean episode. I look over at her, and this girl's like pulling on things. Her face is gone, her eyes crossed over, and she's trying to fix her earphone.
I don't know what happened. It was fine, and all of a sudden, it was like this little leprechaun was on the floor pulling it.
A leprechaun.
Because you wouldn't be able to see the leprechaun on the floor because
No,
they're
I
so
didn't
tiny.
see the leprechaun.
That's
Okay.
why I said leprechaun, because
Okay.
someone was like kind of invisibly pulling the cord every time I moved.
So one of the producers come into the room to help her, and all she had to do was put the earphone in her ear.
No,
That
okay.
was all that she had to do.
It was in my ear,
but you
Sir
had to have seen
Randy.
her.
It was
So-
in my ear, and it was like pulling.
Come on. So for all of those people, all you people who are listening on radio, you are going to have to check out that moment.
You're going to have to
at,
go to YouTube if you
you're
want to
gonna go
see
to
the
YouTube.
craziness.
And hopefully our videographer caught it, but you're going to go on YouTube, go to Your Team Pros, and watch this, the beginning of this episode, and keep your eyes specifically on Jackie, because it was pretty good.
Okay, there's one more email, sir.
There was more than that. Go ahead.
No, I don't. This is all I have here. I'm sorry if I'm kind of
Yeah.
missing some emails. Anthony will. Anthony just texted me, and he says he's not going to make it. Sorry.
Okay.
So it's just you and me. Oh boy,
Nice,
for an
okay.
hour. Woo. So the next email is Jim, and Jim says, "Hello, your team. A question for your radio show, Randy. What exactly is a HELOC, and what is it used for?"
Okay. I did answer that question.
You want me to read out your answer?
Sure,
or-
and then
Okay,
we'll-
so it says a HELOC is a home equity line of credit. Currently, the regulators have tightened the rules on this product. You can only have access to up to 65% of your home value using a HELOC. A HELOC is like a line of credit, so kind of like a credit card, and a mortgage all in one. You are able to use the equity built up in your home to get a loan. But because this loan is a HELOC, you can use it like a line of credit or a credit card. With a mortgage, the money is given to you and it goes into your bank account right away, and you have to make payments on the whole amount. With a HELOC, you get a special account where you can take money out when you need it. This way you do not have to pay for the money you have not used yet. What is really cool about a HELOC is that you can use it as your primary bank account. Some people do, both checking and savings, then have your paychecks go into it, paying down your interest ever so slightly until you use your paycheck. These advantages can save you thousands, and in some cases tens of thousands, when you utilize it in a masterful way. Unfortunately, it can also cause great hardship if not used responsibly. If you have time, I will try to show you how to use it masterfully on a YouTube video. Hope this helps.
Yeah, so the real secret there is that mortgage, if you're pulling this money out, let's say to, the bank of mom and dad, or you're pulling the money out to help your child to get into an investment because you realize that unfortunately, if they do not buy a home, if they do not try to weather the storm that way, their futures are not as bright. These times go on in every generation where there is a asset spurt, and the assets, your house, gold, silver, things like that, increase in value at a rapid rate, and we never know when this is going to happen. But it's typically, it's unfortunate, but it's typically organized, highly organized through the fiscal and monetary policies. This is what I'm discovering. And they don't, I don't believe that they actually mean to do it, but what happens is that, this is going to be a really bad example, but I'm going to give it anyways. Let's pretend you're involved in witchcraft. And so this witchcraft, you're working on these potions and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, you don't know all of the side effects of the stuff you're doing, and you can cause problem, and maybe you accidentally cause problems to people in your home because they end up touching your potions or something like that. And so what I meant by that is that I see like the Bank of Canada use quantitative easing as a form of witchcraft in the sense on our economy. Because at a time when we were at economic prosperity, they punched in QE to make it a prosperous time. So at a time when we were really desperate, they made it very prosperous. And then we got through that phase, and now we're in this phase where we should be able to be prosperous because we can go out in that, but they are restricting everything and making it a desperate time. And that's what I mean by it's organized, because at this point we could all be going around hustling and doing things, but they're tightening the market, they're pulling money out of the market and restricting it. So these times are created by the monetary and fiscal policies that our government puts in place. Now, digressing back to originally what I'm referring to here. So you get like a HELOC. What it allows you to do, it allows you to use that money when you need it. So you're going to go out and buy a house for your child, or maybe even a car or anything like that. And then if you had a mortgage, they would get the money. Let's say they say, oh yeah, you qualify because you don't have a mortgage on your house, but you qualify. We can give you $650,000 HELOC or something. And so they say, here it is. It's you have access to it. It's in your bank. As a mortgage, it's in your bank, and you got to start paying on it. As a HELOC, it's in your bank, and you don't have to pay anything on it until you pull money out. That's the difference. In both cases, that money comes out and sits there in your account waiting for you to use it. But with a mortgage, your payments start immediately. And with a HELOC, it's only when you use it. So there's one big advantage. Now, HELOCs are more expensive than mortgages, though. So that's another thing to sort of keep in mind. But used responsibly, the advantage of the HELOC it has a lot of advantages. So one we just talked about there. The other one is that as you earn money, you can have your money go into your HELOC into there and basically begin to pay down your mortgage. And so what happens with your income, if you have disposable income, in other words, you make more money than you spend. So then therefore there's like a savings being built up each month, every 2 weeks or every week or whatever period of time that how you get paid. As your money goes into the bank, the day it goes in, let's say, you're making $20,000 a month. As that $20,000 goes into the account, you are now paying $20,000 less interest on that money. But bills come up, you got to buy groceries, so you go out and you spend $300. So then now, you're paying interest on that $300 as opposed to on the with a regular mortgage, your $20,000 income goes into a separate account and has no effect on your mortgage. So, and then, you go and spend $300 and it has no effect on anything because as we know, savings accounts don't really give you any money. So the fact that you can put your income into and mix it in with your mortgage, so your HELOC, it is saving you interest. And so the wonderful thing about that is that over time, everything that you do is actually paying off that HELOC as long as you, again, are living responsibly and having a disposable income. You're at a plus. You're spending less money than you make, and therefore you're just automatically reducing your mortgage balance.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Sorry. With a HELOC, does it work because it's kind of like a credit card, like
okay, you can look at it that way.
Loan type thing,
Yeah.
right? Line of credit. Is it like a credit card where, of course, you get the interest monthly, but is there like a yearly fee too? And also, like with your credit card, right? You pay off the entire balance, and you're not doing any interest. Is it the same thing with a line of credit? Do you have like a period of grace where you can pay it off and you don't?
Yes. Well, it's not a period of grace. It's if you took money out of it and then you paid it off, there's no interest to be paid. So
but I mean, is there a yearly
fee
on top?
Not a yearly, but there is typically a monthly cost for it.
But no yearly.
Well, Well, I mean, if you add 12 months together, then that's a yearly fee, but it's typically not like a credit card where they'll charge you $100 for the year and then this and that. They can charge you like $17 a month or whatever to have that account, to have that flexibility. But if it's used properly,
it can be very dangerous because you've taken most of the equity out of your house.
65%. You can take up to 65%.
Well, I think that's.
And so it can be dangerous. Remember, when you do that HELOC, that money is sitting there, and so even though you have access to it, if you don't touch it, you're just paying that monthly fee. But the thing is that what really makes it really unique is that, when you have to go and buy a new car, you're not subject to the financing charges and all that stuff. You just write a check on your HELOC account. And then as you get your income in that, you start dwindling that down. So you can really burn through costs if you have a good disposable income amount. And then you can really, because in essence, your daily savings, your weekly savings, your monthly savings, your yearly savings is all working for you to help you to reduce your interests. And that's what makes it so powerful. And so it is a pretty interesting product, but here is where the bad part is. So the bad part is that, well, actually, before we get to the bad part, there is one other sort of trick that you can do. If you have like a credit card that has really like a high amount that you can go out and buy, you could actually go out and buy that car on your credit card. And 30 days later, you move that money you pay it off from your HELOC. The reason that that's a good thing, or you buy all your groceries instead of affecting your HELOC, you buy all your groceries, you pay all your bills and everything on your credit card, and then you pay that off with your HELOC at the end of the month. And what that does is sort of like two little tiny things. The one is that time that you're not pulling the money out of your HELOC every single day with groceries and gas and yada yada yada, your paycheck is just sitting there reducing interest ever so slightly, and then your credit card is building up, but the credit card company only charges you once a month. So for 27 days ish, you can have that money for free, and the credit card company doesn't charge you. And so you got 27 extra days of interest savings in your HELOC. Then you transfer it over and go through the same thing. And so that's just sort of like a little accelerator that helps you to even save more interest. And yes, you would not pay any interest on your credit card because you would never let it pass that date that causes you to have to pay interest. And then if you were to, with your credit card, you're to set it up so you got a cash back. Now you're using your credit card to for all your purchases, so your cashback number becomes higher than the cost of the credit card. $100 or $200 costs a year for it. So you're getting much more money back for spending all of this money on the card, and you're just paying it off with your HELOC, so you don't have that cost. So that's where you can really kind of get a little bit fancy and really start to pay out any debt that you would have from your HELOC. So that's sort of one way. Where it is problematic is when people do not have discipline and they have access to all this money now. You see, one of the things that mortgages, they're claiming is really good is because with a mortgage, you do not have access to your equity. And so not having access to your equity, it's forced savings. And so with the forced savings over time, you can build up a pretty decent nest egg. But for those who are responsible, they're looking at life a little bit differently. They're not trying to figure out, well, how much bubble gum they can buy, the newest flat screen TV, the newest computer, the newest running shoes. They're not looking for that. They're looking for a different kind of creation, and they're responsible with their money. But the people who aren't, and they find themselves constantly spending their money, a HELOC will give them too much access to this money, and they can tend to really financially hurt themselves. And so that is how
The scary thing, yeah.
yeah, that is how a HELOC can be a very, very powerful tool.
In the right hands, I
or
guess,
it can
right?
also be a financial destructor for the wrong personality type. And then the final sort of thing is that just remember that a HELOC is a higher interest rate than the mortgage.
Yeah, kind of like a credit card,
And
sort of.
yeah, so well, it's lower than a credit card and higher than a mortgage. And so you really need, and then you got this monthly $17 charge for having it or something like that, depending on what banks you're with, yada, 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 depends on your interest rate, all these things. But the thing is that used properly, you're going to really benefit huge from having a HELOC used properly for certain people.
And once again,
And our government just actually legislated that you are not allowed to have a HELOC that is over 65% loan to value. So it used to be you could get 80% out, but they said no.
they got to protect their money.
Well, what they're doing is they're shrinking the money supply. I told you, and some people got this and some people didn't. The recession is can be very bad for the citizens, but it's really, a recession is really affecting those who aren't working, the ones that have lost their jobs in that. But the most devastating part of the recession is more the monetary policies that come about and the protection policies that will come about from different agencies to restrict the money supply. And that's really the most devastating part of a recession, in my opinion, because when you need, it's $100 billion floating around in your economy for people to be able to pay their debts and that, and you only and they restrict the money and there's only $70 billion floating around the economy, you got a $30 billion problem. That's really devastating, on top of the fact that people are losing jobs, and that's the real problem. And the thing is that when there's not enough money floating around, remember, money cycles. So you take your money and you go and buy groceries. The grocery place takes their money and buys new inventory, pays employees, gives money for deliveries, and the delivery guy goes and pays gas and his mortgage, and that money is circling around. But once you pull that money out, it can't circulate, and everyone in one way or another gets affected. And so just to put that in perspective, during the recession, the money supply in the Canadian economy jumped up to, $394 billion. And we usually run at about 97 billion, so 100 billion, call it. So the money was so, it was just everywhere. And now they want to shrink back down to...
With the possibility of a recession this year.
Yeah, so they want to shrink back down the money supply, and many people have adjusted their lives to this new reality, which was really not a reality for long. On top of that, many of us made the huge mistake of believing and trusting in the words of Tim McAuliffe, who is the head of the Bank of Canada.
Tim? I thought it was Tiff.
Tiff, sorry, thank you. I said Tim? Sorry, Tiff. Where he said, you know what, go out and spend. We're going to be keeping rates low for a very long time, and we won't even be looking at anything until 2023, which means, you know, business people and all that stuff all start saying, oh, okay, well, let's go out and do this, and let's go out and expand a little bit, and let's see how we can expand during these prosperous times, and then pull the plug from.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody this week about that, and he says, oh, well, you can't really blame him. You know, like
Right.
nobody saw this coming, but that's what he gets paid. He's getting paid to know these things.
Okay, so
Is he not getting paid to make sure that he's giving the proper advice and that he's can look ahead and see what's coming? Is that not what his job is?
he's an economist, so I would say yes.
Yeah. So
However, one thing I will say about Canadians, they are so forgiving and loving. I mean, I think it's wonderful, and I think that's why we like to be here. The problem that I agree with that person in principle that nobody saw this coming when it comes to them and their circle of friends. But there's another circle of people who absolutely saw this coming, and you can go online and you can actually watch videos of Tiff Macklin interviews where he was being interviewed by other people who understand economics much better than us. We're going back and learning this because we're trying to figure out how did this happen? You know, and why, and unfortunately, doing that, you discover that holy smokes, this was either planned, or Tiff Macklin is at such a high level of academic understanding with regards to economics that he forgot the basics, or doesn't know the basics anymore. He only knows the exceptional. And so, and what I mean by
then he
that,
probably shouldn't be doing the job he's doing.
I 100% agree with that. I'm not saying, you know, I am saying, actually, I think he shouldn't be in that position. I think he's too much of a risk taker. What happened is that we all know, for those who did economics 101, we know that if our government is spending money like water, inflation follows. And that's just a basics. And what Tiff Macklin did, and you go back and listen to it, it's really disturbing, some of the things, some of the interviews that he had. And I mean, if you're really interested in it, I'll send you a group of them. The building manager here for the condominium, he was asking a few questions, so I sent him a few videos to watch. And it was kind of troubling because you had Pavel, how do I say that French gentleman who runs the conservative, Poilievre?
That's correct.
Poilievre? Okay, so there was 2 years ago when Tiff was coming up with this QE magic potion. He said to him, he goes, well, I understand that you're doing this, but can this not cause a liquidity problem with the banks? Like, can this not absolutely bankrupt the Bank of Canada? I'm paraphrasing the words. And Tiff sort of sidestepped it and said, of course not. Where are we today? The Bank of Canada is bankrupted. They lost $522 million last quarter, and will lose the same or more this quarter, and lose the same or more next quarter, and that will go on for a while now. And so, and no other company can ever do that, but because it's the Bank of Canada, it just goes on taxpayers' dime. And don't forget that prior to that, Bank of Canada was making $1 billion or $2 billion or even getting close to $3 billion a year, giving it to the government to help with fiscal policies. But now they're not giving anything to the government, so that's a loss for Canadians. And then they're running a $522 billion debt every quarter. So, and that money has to be paid somehow. So it's inevitable it comes out of Canadians' pockets any way you slice it, no matter what they do. If they write it off, it's still written off to Canadian taxpayers. If they decide to keep it on their books and pay it off in more prosperous times, it's still written to to taxpayers, because the government's never going to be getting the profits until they paid off these losses, no matter what taxpayers are paying for. So that was one. There was another, and there was another one where, and that was with Polyev. Then there was one with Andrew Scheer, where he sort of approached him also saying, you know, it's interesting that you're doing this. How is it happening? And one of the questions he asked him, he says, hey, how, if you're issuing the bond for the Bank of Canada, for the federal government, you're selling it to the banks, and then you're buying it from the bank. So you're buying it at a profit, right? Oh, yes, it's a small profit. It's a little more complicated than that, and it's a bidding system. Okay, cool. No, I understand. You understand every single part of it, and you're trying to explain that. And my question is how much did that cost? So, you know, because the Bank of Canada is creating a bond, selling it to the banks, and immediately buying it back at a profit for the bank. So there's a cost to taxpayers right there just in doing this little triangular QE magic potion thing. And does the Bank of Canada have the money to pay for it? No. What they do is they give the bank a settlement balance. So in essence, they give them an account where they put digits into that account, electronic digits, and now the bank can go out and use that as money. So they are printing money. They're just doing it in a
Digital.
new, creative way, and they call it QE, not printing money. And so this way, the banks don't have to go out and buy or lease big warehouses to store this money in. It's just on their balance sheets, and so, or on their financial docs. So the thing is that the Canadians were losing money in that exchange, and then now that the interest rates have gone up, Canadians are losing money again because we have to pay for the difference between what Tiff Macklin gave them as a deal on those bonds to now what the interest rate is that it has to pay the difference. So the fact that he went and sort of bankrupted the Bank of Canada is not an accident. You know, it would be the equivalent of you going to the casino because you saw, I don't know, you believe that the color red is going to take over the world. QE is going to take over the world, and you come up with this great potion. So you go take your whole mortgage equity out, sell your cars, all your clothes, everything, and go to the casino and put all your money on red. And then you lose because it landed black. Well, nobody knew it was going to land on black. Nobody knew that, so how can it not be your fault? But actually, yeah, we didn't know it was going to land on black, but you ought to have known that there was an opportunity for it to land on black. And that's why none of us go out and do that, because we realize that the chance of winning is just as great as the chance of losing. And so when Tiff Macklin went out and decided to gamble with Canadians' money, he went and he said, hey, federal government. We'll support you in all the debt that you want to create, which immediately means that there's going to be a payday for that, when the payday is now, where inflation rises. So he knows that because he's an economist. The rest of us only kind of know it. We heard it in school in economy 101, but economics 101, but we don't really kind of know it. But he should know it. And so he goes and he gives them an unlimited spending power because the government is doing some crazy things during COVID. And he believes that he should support that. That is a problem because that is where monetary policy marries fiscal policy. Monetary policy being what the Bank of Canada does, it is supposed to be separate. And fiscal policy is what the government does with their spending. And those two are supposed to be separate. But he merged them and married them and gave the federal government unlimited spending power. And that's where the real issue is. And now that whole thing came home to roost, there was one more thing that I'd like to add to that.
I have something to add to question.
I'll just add this one thing. I remember Andrew
Sorry,
Scheer.
are you having problems with your
Andrew
earpiece?
Scheer said that. You just no, it wasn't Andrew Scheer. It was it was in another interview where Tiff Macklem said to the person that no, he's not concerned because the person asked, hey, I think he was just interviewed by I can't remember who it was, but anyways, they asked, well, aren't you afraid that all this spending is going to cause inflation? This great economist, Tiff Macklem, his answer was no. Our greatest concern is deflation. Now, at that time, inflation was hovering around 0.5% and 1%. So he had the liberty to say that. But did he not, or ought he not have known that if you spend a lot, that actually deflation doesn't happen, it's inflation that does. And this is, in essence, the problem. That's why he shouldn't be in that position, because he could only see that spinning ball could land on red. He didn't see the green square, and he didn't see any of the black squares. And the ball landed black, and now we're all in this situation. And that's why he shouldn't be in this position, because he ought to have known that this could happen and actually will happen. And anybody, and this is why the opposition was saying, don't do this. You're going to get caught with your pants down. And they're interviewing him, they're saying that, and he's like just writing it off. Like, well, no, that can't happen. And here it is. So
Well, I
he
don't
should have
know
known.
if he got caught with his pants down. I think he just stood in the middle of the street and dropped them. I mean, he didn't really.
You know
get,
what?
I think that's probably a bad thing I said.
Yeah, that is a bad thing. It's very
What?
insensitive. But I agree with you, because it wasn't like he got caught with his pants down. He dropped them, because remember, it is him who's raising the interest rates.
But,
Right?
But this gentleman that I was talking to the other night when we were out on a showing said, he's not the real problem. Let's dig underneath. And he's saying the real problem is Canadians going out there and spending money that they don't have.
That guy is that is the argument. That's the argument which wins the day. So now they can do this wealth transformation where they transfer much of Canadian wealth to bank institutions is with this argument. Okay, it's actually almost frustrating, but at the same time, it's true. The truth is that Canadians went out and spent money.
Weren't scared to spend,
But
yeah.
here, that also makes 100% sense. And the person who said that, they're right. However, we're talking about a great mind. Tiff Macklem, the head, he's a professor at the university in risk management. University of Toronto and all this stuff. Like, this guy's supposed to be brilliant. Go on the Bank of Canada's website and they will tell you clear, you know what, maybe this is what I'll put together for our show. I'll grab the actual proof rather than just talking about it, because why believe me? I'm just a realtor. And it's true, I'm not smart enough for this stuff. It's the research that I did that led me to these conclusions. On their website, it clearly states that Canadians were saving all kinds of money through the recession, through the
Pandemic.
what should have been a recession, through the pandemic. The reason it should have been a recession is because you weren't allowed to work and you weren't allowed to go out and spend. Stores were all closed.
Usually a recession.
So that's a recession. That's actually a depression. And through that time, Canadians weren't allowed to spend their money, so they were building up a big nest egg. And then, boom,
It's
the
like
whole
that song, build it up and
build it. So, and then all of a sudden
Solid.
you're allowed out, stores are back open.
you go on a
And
frenzy.
so then you go out, and even if it's not a frenzy, you just go back to normal, where you can go to restaurants, you can go to this without having a passport of some sort or whatever. And then, yeah, Canadians are spending. Well, what genius doesn't know that that's going to happen? Like, honestly, and then you turn around and blame them. You turn around and blame the Canadians for going out and living their lives back again. And this is why we got to bankrupt a whole bunch of people, because you Canadians are the underlying problem. Well, you didn't know that when you allow people, you put them in jail and then you then let them out of jail, and then you're surprised that they're going to the parks and they're going to the restaurants and they didn't walk back into their jail cell and say, no, I just want to stay here. Like, it's absolutely insane. They got really good arguments for the stuff they're doing. And if you are a layman and you haven't bought into the pedigree of economics, and you're not, I think I'll just stop here.
Yes.
I think
Because I think this was the Randy Rodney Raw
Th-
show.
this requires a very special mind to blame the people for the monetary decisions of our government. They have taken a time of recession and made it prosperous. That was not Canadians' fault. Then when Canadians were allowed out, and you say they spent too much, now we're going to have to punish you by bankrupting a whole bunch of you and making it unaffordable.
Oh, right.
That is just ridiculous. We have a bunch of emails.
Yes, I finally got them in. Sorry, guys, but here they're coming now.
Let's go through them.
Okay, so first one is from Carl. And Carl says, hey, I found the publicity photo for Randy's new Raw show.
And it's The Rock.
It is not the, oh my goodness.
That's The Rock, just bring it. The Rock.
Carl, have you been listening to the show for a while and know that The Rock is my favorite person?
Quite, to be really honest, The Rock, he's just a chip off of the boulder. I'm the boulder, so
Yeah.
it's not...
Yeah, I have a soft spot for The Rock, so.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. And then we got, woo, there we go. Oh my goodness, okay, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Off to get go. Hey, your team. Hey, Randy, can't wait for the new show. I will send the kids out of the room. You might have to.
Oh, I won't swear.
No,
that's
because
not
you
gonna
get
happen.
very...
But I get animated.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to try to bring you. I think I'll do some special stuff for that show. Like, I'll have links and stuff like that to the articles of why it is I'm forming the conclusions that I'm forming. And it is disturbing as a layman not understanding all of the policies.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Not
Thought it was the
understanding.
leg.
Not understanding all of the jargon, the economic jargon. I'm just looking at it as a human being, and it's really interesting how the establishment is got all of these folklores, for lack of a better term, that justify them going out and doing the things that they're doing. You know, during COVID, they would blame the spread of COVID on kids under a bridge drinking, people in the park and stuff like that. They have these justifications that actually later on in life get proven wrong, but it doesn't matter. It was well justified at the time, and they brainwash people to believe that this is cool or true or that. Yeah, go ahead, hon.
And anyways, the ending to, he says, hey to sexy Jackie. I'm like, thank you,
that's
Tim.
why I was trying to
I know
stop
you.
that part.
I know you didn't want me to say that part, but there. Thank you, Tim. You made my day, because obviously my husband's not.
I think you're sexy.
Whoa, look at that. And now we got, thank you. Now we got from
that.
Shaw is, hello, real estate. Hey to Randy, congratulations on your new show. I will make it a paid per view when you kill the banks. Thanks.
You kill the banks. That will never happen.
And then we got Henry. Henry says, hello to Randy. Oh, sorry, Henry, I'm putting myself first. Hello to Randy and Jackie. Has the so-called stress test been eliminated? Thank you. No, but I was going to talk a little bit about that in an article I had ready, that they are talking about making changes to it, Henry. But at this point, there's no, we don't know what the changes will be.
For what?
Stress tests. They are kind of talking about it.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I don't believe there's going to be any changes to the stress test. It will just get worse. What they will do is they will still make it the 2% for now. They muddle some things around, but right now they're very concerned, very concerned with the state of affairs. And what they're going to do is create new stress tests that you won't even see. As people, we won't even see them. And these stress tests are actually on the financial institutions themselves. Do you want me to do this or no? You're anxious to read the next email, or can I do this? Because she's like huffing and puffing in the background here. Maybe I don't do it. Is that it? Okay. Well, no. I'll just try to make it really short. The stress tests that they're doing is that they're not allowing the banks to lend out money in their traditional way, where you could, if you had a 39% GDS ratio, and it turns out that you fit all of the boxes you're supposed to fit. It turns out that the bank says, "Oh, we're going to create a new box." You're only allowed 4.5 times your income as the cap value of the home. And so what they did is they just shrunk again what you can buy. And so these are, again, putting more stress tests into the economy, restricting money. The other thing that they're going to do is, and they've already done, and understand these are new rules, new laws that they're putting in the books that never existed before, or existed and had a cap on it. And so, but what they did is they got rid of that cap and created a new cap, and the new cap makes money even harder to get. And so these things are coming down the pipeline to restrict money flow, and you, as citizens or as lenders, as borrowers, you'll never know them. These are stress tests that have gone at the financial institution level, now in their underwriting departments, that stop us from being able to make those purchases, similar to the stress test not allowing us to use the current mortgage rate. We have to use a higher one. You did miss an email. I believe it's Shaw.
I just did Shaw's.
Okay, did you get Tim? What about Nan?
I haven't. I'm doing Gail right now.
Yeah, so you missed Henry then.
No, we did Henry.
You missed Nan.
I don't. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
You're right.
I know.
It said,
I'm always right.
Nan said, okay. Hello, folks. I decided to get into the rental market. Here's my new condo building down here in Louisiana. Redneck Mansion. Snoops.com, okay? Redneck, that's a good one. And
Thank
Gail
you. Yeah.
is asking, hey, is this a HELOC show or a real estate show? So Gail's not getting enough real estate today.
Okay, well, actually, Gail, it's a real estate and mortgage show.
But we don't have
and-
Anthony here to
and-
kind of stop Randy.
Well,
so.
no, remember, the show is called Your Home, Your Money, and HELOC is the Your Money
Yes, no,
portion of it.
I think
so that's why.
HELOC may be a way that, right now, if some people can get it, it may kind of save them a little right now with what's going on. Possibly.
Okay. So yeah, that's possible. But I think people who are in the situation where they're 65% loan to value, they're probably pretty safe. It's the people who are on the fringes. Go ahead.
And this email's from Ken, and Ken says, hello, congratulations to Randall on his new blockbuster radio show. Can't wait. I will be high.
Cool, thank you,
High
Ken.
on the hog, I'm assuming there.
Thank you, Ken. So that show again is Randy Rodney Raw. It's right here on realityradio101.com. I don't believe it will be on the YouTube channel. I don't believe so. I don't know. We'll find out from our producers. But it will be here, realityradio101.com, Tuesday evenings, 9:30 to 10:30. I will just say it'll be sort of like a more deeper dive into the Your Home, Your Money. It'll be more me digging
Raw.
in, so that yeah. So
And once again, that's Tuesday evenings, 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll get the raw goods from the Boulder.
So yeah, from the Boulder.
Maybe one day the Rock will think this is really funny and pay us a visit, that you think he's a chip off you.
Well, you know what?
That
I'm going
Rock
to be
pay
honest.
us a visit,
I don't know
please.
if that will happen because
I'd probably fall down on the ground if I met the Rock. Sorry.
I will. Well, I mean, let's get real. I think you did a lot better. Let's. So here's.
I did better than the Rock. There you go.
You got the Boulder. So the thing is that.
Yes, babe. I would not ditch you for the Rock.
Here's the thing. He's a chip off the old Boulder, really. And I'm very happy for him. I'm just a little bit upset that he has not,
sorry.
told people that he's a chip off of the Boulder.
Oh,
And
you
he's-
got to be careful now.
And he's been taking all of the fame and attributing it just to himself. So, I personally think that he should have told people his origins, but hasn't happened.
We are pretty much out of time.
No, 11:57. We still got 3 minutes, babes.
So
I'm not done.
I can't do my article in 3 minutes, I don't think.
You can
But
do
let's
it in
see.
one if you want.
Okay, so I was going to talk about mortgage delinquency rates, where they were at an all-time low of 0.14%, with another rate hike coming, which will be the 8th rate hike on January 25th. That will be the 8th one right now. And what they're talking about, what the article's talking about, is how the variable rate mortgage holders have seen their payments soar. Like, I talked to a couple people, their payments have already gone up $700, $1,000 a month. So that's a little bit of extra cash to come up with. It's not pocket change. And in some cases, it's more than $1,000, depending, right? So what they're saying is that now, when you pay your monthly payment, it's not even going to cover any of the principal. It's pretty much going to be just interest. So right now, you're just going to be paying interest. You're not even paying down on your mortgage anymore. And the other thing is that some of the lenders, they're not even going to reach out and let you know about your increased payments. It's just going to happen, right? They're not going to be reaching out to thousands of people saying your payments are going up. It's just going to happen, okay?
Yeah.
And then the CEO of RBC says that more than 50% of the bank's variable mortgage holders will have a trigger impact. A trigger impact is that something that's going to trigger them to be going into negative and not being able to handle the money situations within their home and their mortgage payments. So they're saying that the The real vulnerable people, though, are the people that have the multiple properties, that have private mortgage is on their house, and people that have went to alternative lenders. As we know, through the pandemic and after, that was one thing that was being said, was that the alternative mortgage market increased drastically. So with that, because people couldn't go and get your normal mortgage to the bank, they went to alternatives, and these people are going to be a little worse off. So this is what they're saying, the Bank of RBC is saying. And then November of last year, they saw the highest number of
Insolvency.
Yes, since the onset of the pandemic. So last year, November was the worst that they've seen for the mortgage issues started there. So it's just going to keep getting worse, unfortunately. And so then what I was talking about when I said how some of the changes that they're talking about that may be coming through the pipeline is new mortgage lending restrictions. Like Randy had said, on the HELOCs already, they've reduced that from 75 to 80% to 65 already. Because in some cases you could get up to 80 to 85% of your mortgage, of your home's, of your home's worth. And then one lender, private lender, said that he went 3 years without any foreclosures, having to take back houses from any of his clients, which he was happy, because you don't really want to be, when you lend out money for that, that's the last thing that a person wants to do is kick you out of your home, right? I mean, they try everything to not do that. And he said in the last 7 months, he's had 2 power of sales. So his suggestion, which I'm suggesting as well, is what I believe we said last week on the show, is if you see some unforeseen trouble that you think is going to come in the future, don't wait for it to happen. Reach out to the lenders that you have. Let them know, you know what, I'm going to be having some issues, because in some cases they can work out some kind of strategy with you that you won't lose your home, that you can keep things on the go. So don't we say, go to bed and put the covers over your head because you got some issues, money issues with your mortgage coming that you know. And we are out of time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So, and if you do have an issue and you speak with them, you still have an issue, you can call us. It's absolutely free. We'll see what we can do to help you.
And in 1 minute, what we're doing,
and to navigate those times, and help you to keep your home. And we're also doing. Yearly annual equity reviews, where we can help people understand the financial situation of their home. Thank you very much.
And those are free, guys. If you want an annual review to review your equity in your home, reach out to us by email. And we'll gladly put a package together for you so you can kind of see the health of your home.
Yep, the financial health of your home. Thank you very much for listening in. This is Your Home, Your Money, and Our Lives on realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie, right here on Reality Radio 101.